people come to me for help and they'll tell me what's going on, I'll be like, oh, you're experiencing this, this, and this. And they're like, how did you know that? Are you psychic? No, I'm not psychic. Carl Jung taught me. What I mean by that is shadow work. Shadow work has taught me a lot of what I know when it comes to being able to read people and kind of identify some of the things that they struggle with and getting to the core root. I've been able to identify the patterns of, if you're struggling with this, then this most likely means this. So if you also want to be able to identify your own issues or even identify other people's issues, then you're going to want to stick around for this video. If you're new here, welcome. Hi, I'm Missy, and on this channel we get to the root of the issue and we learn how to heal and deal. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the fam. Also, if you have anxiety and you haven't checked out my book, go ahead and check out my book, Anxiety at the Root. It is linked down below. You can check it out right here. We combine the mind and the body together so you no longer struggle with anxiety. Let's get into today's video. So I did a more in-depth video on shadow work, which I will leave right here that you can check out. Today we're going to talk about how to identify shadow triggers. Why it's helpful to identify your triggers is because it helps you to heal, it helps you to break patterns, and it helps you to stop projecting your wounds onto others so you can have better relationships and your mood will overall change. So if you have ever noticed yourself getting thrown off by something small, maybe you have a big reaction to something small and you're like, why am I reacting like this, or why am I so triggered by this, and you can't quite put your finger on it, that generally is a shadow trigger. You may notice you feel hurt, you feel ashamed, you feel guilt, or you even feel angry. You just feel bad about yourself revolving around something that you're not sure why you feel that way. That's because your shadow self is a part of you that holds everything that you suppress, you reject, or you've denied, and it often stems from childhood. Maybe you were told you were too sensitive, so you start hiding your emotions. Or maybe when you spoke up, you were silenced. So anytime you don't feel like you can get a word out, or you feel like you're being silenced, it hits a nerve. It's not about the situation that's happening at the moment, it's that a part of you that has been buried deep gets triggered. Your subconscious still remembers. If you didn't process and heal, then your shadow self is gonna hold on to that. So how do you know it's a shadow trigger and not just an emotional reaction to something? One, if you have an intense emotional reaction to something that feels bigger than the moment. So what this means is that, let's say that someone forgot to text you back. Something you may feel is you may feel abandoned. Or someone eats the last cracker. You go and have a huge anger attack about it. Or someone accidentally calls you the wrong name and you start harassing them. You know, those are little things that we probably could let go of, but we may have huge reactions to that. And that is because our inner shadow was triggered. The second one is harsh judgment towards others. It's normal to judge others. We have evolved to judge for safety reasons. Like, for instance, if there's a dark alley, we don't go in that because we judge that it might be unsafe and there might be someone that could attack us. We can't like use our senses to detect if something's off. So judgments are not bad. It's more so when you harshly judge, that's when it's a problem. So if you judge someone that is not bothering you, is just doing their own thing, then that shows something inside of yourself. For instance, let's say you're scrolling through Instagram and you're like, oh, that person's so full of themselves. I can't stand people that are full of themselves. But here's the truth. You may crave to be seen, or maybe you envy their confidence, or maybe you don't have the courage to put things like that on Instagram yourself. You may have taught to feel shame around that. Same way you often see, like, when a girl calls themselves pretty, immediately everyone's on top of that girl being like, you're so full of yourself, why are you saying that, you're not even that good looking. Everyone tries to put her down. Why? It's because they have shame. Maybe they were taught that they're not allowed to feel good about themselves, they can't praise themselves, they hate that that person has confidence and they don't. Like, there's a lot of people's shadows are revealed through the hate comments. That's why they always say hurt people. Don't always trust hate, trust constructive criticism. And the third one is deep feelings of rage, guilt, shame, or envy. If you have rage towards someone that's doing something that doesn't hurt other people, that shows that you have some shadow work you need to look into. Or if you envy someone, you wish that you could do that thing, or you wish you had that thing. And then if you struggle with deep shame and guilt, which a lot of us, I think that's a core problem of a lot of us, is we do have a lot of shame and guilt, and shame really does hurt our ability to be authentic and shine, because we're always constantly obsessing about what other people are thinking or how society's going to judge us. It affects the way we live day to day. It affects the way that we show up in our work, in our relationships, for ourselves. So if you notice you're someone that shames other people, you most likely were shamed yourself, and you probably wish that you could be as free or do those things as well. So to wrap it up, basically, shadow triggers reveal things that we have suppressed and that we were taught were unacceptable. Here's a couple more examples you may relate to. So big emotional reactions. You may have a big reaction to someone setting a boundary with you. What they may trigger is that you were punished as a child for having needs of your own, so you get angry when someone else attends to their needs, since your needs were never attended to. You may be giving the same reaction you were given in childhood to the person that's setting a boundary, because you tried to set that same boundary and you got that reaction. Taking things personally is another example of your shadow being triggered. A lot of us will take things personally that actually aren't personal, and that's because we're making it about our old wound. And then envy often points to suppressed desires that we were told we couldn't have. So when you are triggered, you want to ask yourself, what in my past is triggering me to feel this way towards this person, or towards this event or situation? Now, what can you do when you are triggered? First, don't have big emotional reactions to your trigger. Your shadow self is not something, it already is shame. Like, you don't want to keep shaming the shame. That causes you to suppress it more and make it seem like it's forbidden and something you shouldn't pay attention to. It makes you feel like you shouldn't give attention to it, when in reality it actually does need more attention. So you want to look at that shadow part of you. You want to look at the shame, the envy, like identify what it is and thank it. Say, you know, thank you for trying to protect me. That trigger is trying to be a guide for you. It's showing you what still needs love, safety, protection, and validation. A lot of us have struggled with validation, and our shadow selves are like, please give me validation, please make me feel loved, make me feel good, make me feel like I'm safe and warm. So you want to validate that it's there, and then you can ask yourself a couple questions. And you want to do this kind of on your own time when you have some time alone, but journaling can be really helpful, because if we're just kind of thinking, our thoughts can get all scrambled, but if we write it down, it flows out nicer. So you're going to ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now? That's when you identify the emotion that you're feeling. You want to ask yourself, when have I felt this before? So you want to go back to your past and say, you know, what was the kind of the originator trigger? What made me feel this way originally? And what are some patterns maybe I've noticed from my past? This one can be a little difficult, but you want to give yourself some time, but ask yourself, what might I be hiding, judging, shaming, or afraid to express? What is deep in there that I've suppressed, that I felt like was not allowed to come out? And then the last question you can ask yourself is this me as an adult reacting, or is this a part of my inner child that's reacting? Is this the younger version of me feeling unheard, unloved, unvalidated, or unsafe? And then you can ask yourself, what do I need right now? Once you kind of uncover everything, what do I need right now? Do I need to shift gears? Do I need to be more loving towards myself and others? Do I need to give myself some validation? Do I need to go communicate with someone? Like, identify what you need. That can be really difficult for a lot of us, since we were taught to suppress our needs. Well, that's how you become more authentic, is you learning your needs and how to attend to your need. And over time, in the beginning it'll be really difficult, but over time you'll get more and more comfortable with being able to identify your need. Maybe you need boundaries to feel more safe. Maybe you need a hug from somebody because you've been feeling really alone and you've been isolating yourself. Maybe you need to tell people something that you're interested in that you were afraid that they were going to judge you for, and you accepting that you are interested in this thing and accepting, you know, what other people have, like that other people are going to have different opinions. Identify truly what you need. and go and give yourself that need. So when you have a big emotional reaction, or you're feeling rage or envy, or you're being extra judgmental, pause, take a pause, and start to kind of dive deeper and see what's going on. Why am I reacting this way? Ask yourself those questions that we just went through. It really might be like you're reacting that time because someone was rude to you, or it might be that your inner shadow's coming out that's needing some attention. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. So you want to look at your shame